Hey everybody, welcome to another Candy Coated conversation with your girl Candace here. And today is going to be the first in a little video reaction series that I'm just calling let's see, Candy Coated Courtroom, something like this. We're going to be going over some of these court cases and reacting to them and giving our opinion on the verdict, you know, uh, everyone's demeanor, attitude, and just to see what is going on. So this should actually be fun and interesting just to see, people's reactions in these court rooms and how they're handling themselves. So I wanted just to, let's try this out a little bit, see what we think about everything going on. Okay. So I have something picked out and we're going to get into this. And this should be very interesting because this is a woman who, the judge is ordering her to pay back $8,000 that she's been overpaid. So let's see the details on this. Now, I definitely, um, if he's not in arrears and things like that, he should be paid back, most definitely. But if he is in any type of arrears, why don't they just make that apply to that instead of her having to pay anything back? But you know what? This is going to be my first time watching it right along with you. Of course, this is a reaction video, so I do have to stop periodically, for commentary and things of that nature. But we'll have a good time doing it. Let's see what this is about. Mom ordered to pay back 8,000 in overpaid child support. Fraud committed on the court. It says. Let's see what we have here.
$50,000 per year for Ms. Chilton's income. And that was what it was recalculated on. Client's kind of stuck where he's overpaid child support.
Be deceiving in any way.
The court will note the appearance of before the court on the plaintiff's motion for repayment.
The only other thing I have to add, Your Honor, is I'm looking back at the documents. The calculation, first of all, Ms. Chilton is an intelligent woman. She knows how child support works. The child support calculation that was giving her so much child support had her income at $15,000 per year. When we recalculated child support, the child was at $50,000 per year for Ms. Chilton's income. And that was what it was recalculated on. There's no way that Ms. Chilton knew, or there's no way that she did not know that child support shouldn't have been at that level that it was at. And I don't know that is at that's not up for debate today because it's already been modified. But at this point, my client's kind of stuck where he's overpaid child support for years, essentially, to Ms. Chilton, but he has no way to get any of that child support back. And as our motion indicated, he tried to pursue this. It didn't come back. And I think what we need to do is we probably need an order from this court with how this is supposed to get paid so that if he does need to, he can pursue collection action. Thank you.
Wow. Now, this is interesting because you know what? Who made the mistake on the income? Is that her fault that her child support was increased due to an error where they thought that she only made $15,000 a year as opposed to the $50,000 a year that she actually made? And so they made that determination. Is that her fault? Like, how is she supposed to be held legally responsible for that? That's a question that I would ask, and hopefully they cover it during this because I would feel like, you know what? Okay, it was overpaid, but you know, what? This is so funny. It's so funny to have to say this because, um, there's lots of debate on if mothers actually, oh, how's she using it? So with an overpayment, I mean, it's definitely not right, but is it her fault? So let's get back to it.
Thank you. Ms. Chilton, what's your response?
Good morning. At the time when this was calculated, as I presented to the
You
court,
guys, I
I was
saw something here. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. They gave a little bit more context. So let me see if I can read it. I guess this court case is out of Michigan. So it says in Michigan, both parties' income is considered for the calculation of child support. So by mom using a lower income, 15,000 per month instead of 50,000 per month, increased the child support that she was receiving. Now, if the deceit, I hear her starting to say, oh, what at this time I was doing something part-time, but you know daggone well that if at the time you turn your paperwork, that was the amount, but you know that you were supposed to tell the courts an updated amount when that changed. Let's see what happened.
the court. I was only working part-time, and the order was based on that part-time work ending in that summer of June, or whenever that school year ended. And again, as I put in my answer, that I was not going to be working, going to school. And then once I went back to work in August, which, you know, I did have a full-time job at that time, that is when I submitted the documentation to the child support court that I was, in fact, earning more money. So I did submit documentation. I didn't understate any income. You know, we had to submit documentation to the court at that time to prove um, my income at that time. And so I don't feel like you know, it is that my fault of my full-time employment. It had not changed, so I took it back to the court. I submitted it twice, as you will see in the documentation and supporting evidence, that I did submit this documentation to the court twice. So I submitted, I did everything that I knew to.
Wow. Now, see, that alone for me, that absolves her of anything. You might need to sue the state. I don't know. Let's see, but I really think that makes a difference because see in the upper right hand corner, this attorney, her name is attorney Elisa or Allison. I can't really see her name. Starts with a G, but she tried to allude to the fact that basically she knew, she's a smart woman, and I know that she knew. Well, the lady's saying, "Hey, I turned in something twice that I was making more money," so that makes a huge difference for me.
Was not trying to be deceiving in any way. I submitted the information that I had, that I knew that I needed to submit, and that income was based on him working more at that time, and then he went on to a different job that caused him to make less. So the recalculation, I'm not sure where the $50,000 is coming from. But again, I was not working prior to that due to COVID. And then I started working part-time. And the child care that I was asking to be paid for at that time was not being paid for. So that's when the child support came up, because he wasn't meeting his obligation that we had agreed upon.
Okay. Well, in this particular case, I'm not going to address the issue of change, and it's already been resolved. I understand the arguments, but it would be inequitable to charge the plaintiff an amount, and again, that would in essence have him paying over $7,000 that he should not have had to have paid had it been calculated at that correct amount at that particular time. So the court is going to grant the motion for the repayment. Screenly, court, what I'm going to do is order that the amount of $6,891 would be repaid over the same term that it was collected. So if it was collected over, I think you said over 12 months, then that would be repaid over 12 months. If it was longer, I just don't know based upon the pleadings there. If I So it would just be repaid over the term that it was paid.
Okay, and equal monthly installments, Your Honor?
Yes.
And then, no, we also made a request for attorney fees in this case. Is that,
I'm not going to award attorney fees in this case.
Okay.
It sounds like there were enough issues and problems in the case to go along. I don't hold anybody responsible for that.
okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go.
Referee recommended
In the-
she had told me 2000.
But she had to
Consent
pay that money
out of
back.
without
Actually,
So I could tell from her facial expressions that she was not happy about that at all. And I'm trying to figure out if this is the father right here, because he never said a word. I mean, I guess he let his attorney do the talking for him, and it worked in his favor because he is getting paid his money back. So, good for him. I mean, I don't know. I wanted someone to take responsibility for it. I just didn't necessarily think that it was her, because if she turned the paperwork in twice, but you know what? That's just what she said. Maybe she didn't do it to the court's satisfaction, and maybe that's why the judge had to rule against her. So, guys, if it's happening to you, there is recourse. You got to step up. The child support system is to work for all parties involved, and the main party that it's supposed to work for is the child. So, but in different instances, hey, if they're ordering you, or you lose your job and you can't make your payments, you have to always do the responsible thing, let them know, and work with them so they can work with you. But I'm glad it worked out for this guy, because you know what? When they were taking those extra payments, that really could have been a struggle for him in his household, because he's already budgeting his money now. The money that he makes, he's not earning. He's paying his child support as he should. But, when you allot your money, for your bills and things like that, and then to have continued to have that money taken out, that could have been a hardship for him. So, shout out, my guy. And until next time, bye. Thanks for being in the courtroom with CandyCoated. Okay.